It began with a whisper in the marketplaces of Rome. The silver denarius no longer shone like it once did. By the 3rd century AD, Rome's empire, vast and powerful, faced a hidden threat that no army could fight. The protagonist of this story is Emperor Caracalla, whose ambitious spending on military campaigns, public games, and imperial luxuries drained the treasury. Believing in the power of coin to maintain loyalty and project authority, he authorized the debasement of silver, reducing the precious metal content in each denarius while minting more to fund his ambitions. The betrayer, however, was the system itself, the very economy of Rome. By tampering with the currency, the empire set in motion a chain reaction: inflation, loss of public trust, and eventual economic chaos. Traders, soldiers, and citizens began to notice that prices were rising even as the value of their coin diminished. Rome's sprawling empire seemed unshakable from the outside, but beneath the marble forums and grand aqueducts, the foundations were eroding. One coin at a time, the wealth that had conquered continents was turning to dust, foreshadowing a financial collapse that would reverberate through history. By the mid-3rd century, subtle signs indicated that Rome's financial might was unraveling. Official records celebrated prosperity, yet merchants and soldiers noticed prices creeping higher even as coins lost weight and silver content. Hidden debts of the imperial treasury ballooned, and provincial governors quietly diverted tax revenue to cover local shortfalls, creating an invisible strain across the empire. Whispers circulated in Rome's forums. The denarius no longer held its former value, and some speculated that mint officials were cutting corners or falsifying weights to meet the demands of the emperor. Traders grew cautious, hoarding goods or demanding payments in bullion rather than the increasingly debased currency. Even advisors to Caracalla appeared uneasy. Some warned that continuous debasement could spark inflation and unrest, but their concerns were dismissed in favor of short-term funding for the army and public spectacles. The emperor's ambition blinded him to the subtle erosion of confidence, the very trust that underpinned Rome's sprawling economy. The pressure built silently, like magma beneath the surface. Citizens paid more for less, soldiers' wages lost purchasing power, and the markets began to sense that Rome's golden age rested on a foundation of silver dust. The betrayal was systemic, yet deeply personal. The imperial mint, under pressure to finance Caracalla's endless campaigns, deliberately debased the silver denarius, reducing its purity while minting more coins to cover the treasury's spiraling debts. The facade of abundance hid a growing economic rot. Evidence came to light when a provincial accountant, Marcus Flavius, meticulously recorded discrepancies between the official ledgers and the coins actually circulated. His reports revealed that entire shipments of silver had been diluted, while officials had skimmed coins for personal gain. Flavius' whistleblowing sent shockwaves through Rome's political and commercial circles. The fallout was swift. Soldiers found their pay losing value daily, fueling discontent in the legions. Merchants refused debased currency, demanding barter or foreign coin. Inflation soared. Grain riots erupted in urban centers. The confidence that had held Rome together for centuries shattered almost overnight, undermining trust in both the emperor and the economy itself. The empire's greatest treasure, its currency, had become a weapon turned against its own people. The questions loomed. Could accountability reach the emperor? Could Rome restore faith in its silver? Or was the denarius doomed to crumble, along with the empire itself? Marcus Flavius, the provincial accountant, realized that documenting the debasement was not enough. Rome teetered on the edge of financial collapse, and silence would make him complicit in the empire's ruin. Determined to act, he began meticulously tracing every coin, shipment, and ledger entry, linking the mint officials' corrupt practices directly to the emperor's insatiable spending. As he gathered evidence, Marcus understood a painful truth. The empire's strength had always rested on trust, not just gold. By undermining the currency, Caracalla and his officials had weaponized greed itself, using ambition and vanity to hollow out the economy from within. Every inflated ledger, every skimmed shipment of silver, Every forged report had contributed to a slow-motion betrayal. Armed with proof, Marcus began discreetly reaching out to reform-minded senators and merchants, those who had the influence to pressure the emperor and restore fiscal order. For the first time, a glimmer of hope appeared amid the chaos. The denarius had betrayed Rome, but Marcus' courage sparked a potential comeback. The empire could still be stabilized if truth, accountability, and strategy were wielded wisely against the corrosive forces of ego, corruption, and greed. Marcus Flavius knew that confronting the emperor directly would be suicide. Instead, he crafted a careful strategy to expose the corruption without igniting immediate chaos. He began by tracing every debased coin back to its source, mapping the flow from the imperial mint to merchants, soldiers, and distant provinces. Each shipment, ledger, and diversion became a piece of the larger puzzle. Next, he leaked detailed reports to influential senators and respected merchants, framing the findings as an urgent plea for reform rather than personal accusation. These leaks sparked whispers across Rome's markets and forums, a subtle tremor of accountability that unsettled those who believed themselves untouchable. Marcus also coordinated with provincial governors, instructing them to halt unauthorized gold transfers and monitor local mint operations, creating a network of oversight that could respond if corruption persisted. Meanwhile, the emperor and mint officials remained oblivious, confident that the public would remain distracted by games, triumphs, and propaganda. Tension mounted as Rome's citizens noticed inconsistencies in currency and prices. The empire teetered between panic and recovery, and Marcus' methodical approach meant justice was imminent. But the decisive moment, when the corruption would be fully exposed for all to see, had not yet arrived. The moment of reckoning arrived when Marcus Flavius presented his meticulously documented evidence before the Senate in Rome. Charts of debased coins, ledgers showing missing silver, and records of diverted shipments were laid bare for all to see. The room fell silent as senators realized the magnitude of the betrayal. The empire's very currency had been weaponized by greed and unchecked ambition. Public outrage surged. Merchants demanded accountability, soldiers refused underpaid wages, and the forums buzzed with angry whispers. Mint officials and advisors, previously untouchable, were exposed as opportunists who had enriched themselves at the expense of Rome's stability. Even Caracalla faced undeniable scrutiny, forced to confront the consequences of his lavish spending and systemic debasement. The empire reeled, yet the truth acted as a stabilizing force. Provincial governors implemented strict oversight, trade resumed with renewed caution, and reforms were introduced to prevent further currency manipulation. Rome's silver, once diminished and distrusted, gradually regained legitimacy. Through Marcus' courage, justice had been served, not with sword or legion, but through truth, evidence, and accountability. The denarius had betrayed Rome, yet human vigilance restored faith in what money alone could not secure. Trust, transparency, and the endurance of an empire die in the wake of Marcus Flavius' revelations. The imperial mint and its corrupt officials faced disgrace. Some were stripped of titles, others imprisoned, while their ill-gotten gains were reclaimed where possible. Caracalla's reputation suffered, and even the emperor could not escape the scrutiny of history. Rome's economy slowly stabilized as oversight was enforced, coins were revalued, and public trust cautiously restored. Marcus' quiet victory lay in the enduring impact of truth. He had faced the combined might of an empire, exposing greed and deception not with violence, but with meticulous evidence and moral courage. The denarius, once a tool of betrayal, became a symbol of accountability. The lesson endures. Wealth alone cannot secure loyalty, trust, or stability. Only integrity and vigilance can prevent empires from crumbling into dust. The silver that deceived the people also illuminated the human cost of unchecked ambition. Speech balloon, do you think greed always gets caught, or does it merely hide until the next generation discovers it? Share your thoughts in the comments, subscribe, and stay tuned for more forgotten financial betrayals that shaped the world. Scroll because in finance, as in life, the truth endures longer than gold, and courage outlasts empire.